You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Are you ready to learn the 3 secrets to launching a successful podcast? Hi, I'm Bill, a recent client of the Podcast Mogul. If you've been thinking about starting a podcast but aren't sure where to begin, he's got you covered. He is hosting a free webinar where he will share the 3 secrets that can help you launch, grow, and monetize your podcast without any fancy equipment or technical headaches. Click the link in the show notes to save your spot now and let him help get your podcast off the ground.
Welcome to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. Join the podcast mogul Phil Better as he interviews successful entrepreneurs that make their living in the digital world. Now, let's join your host, Phil Better, and his special guest today on Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. I am, of course, your host with the most, Phil Better, and I'm so happy to introduce our guest today. They are the managing partner at IronHawk Financial, known for their deep commitment to providing financial security and education, especially to those in the blue-collar industries. Our guest's journey in finance is personal, stemming from their family's financial hardships, which they have turned into a lifelong mission of protecting others from similar fate. Person after my own heart. Our guest is also an Amazon author on top of it. They have titles such as There's a Better Way Than the 401k and Being Your Own Bank. Who doesn't want to be their own bank, right? So now, without further ado, let's extend a great, big digital entrepreneur welcome to our guest, Joseph Lombardi. Joseph, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me, Phil.
Joseph, we're going to jump right into it because I'm interested in this. I read your bio to the audience. Why did you decide to help people become their own bank, in essence, become an entrepreneur? Why did you become an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to sound cliche, but, I didn't choose this life. This life chose me, based on my reality of growing up. I mean, came from a divorced household, grew up in poverty after my parents divorced when I was 4, lived in an attic with no running water. Then my dad's business took off. My grandmother gave my father a loan to really grow, JV Lombardi builder. And in the 90s, if you had a hammer and a truck, you were making 6 figures a year when the housing market exploded. So then my dad became very successful, reinvested a lot of his profits back into his business, grew a $100,000 a year business to tens of millions of dollars of value. Then one day he's in Connecticut in Greenwich and he falls off a ladder 3 stories and loses everything. And this was a guy with $3 million in a Payne Weber account. He had many trucks, many workers, bunch of real estate, rental income. And within 20 months, he was literally flat dead broke. So what I found is that, that a lot of people, especially business owners, they believe they're Superman. I mean, again, they need some of that positive energy, but you also have to have a fire plan, So shortly after that, my mother dies at 52 years old from cirrhosis liver from alcoholism. She had no life insurance. And then another, 10 months later, my grandmother has a stroke. And then 6 years later, she loses $4.2 million from her dementia to a nursing home. So it all came together. I was bartending in Connecticut at a very high-end place. And the CEO of Northwestern Mutual came in and said, hey, I was 19 years old. And he's like, hey, I want you in this business. What are you studying? I said, well, economics and finance. I'm paying my way through college. Hence, I'm working full-time, going to college full-time, and maintained a 3.66 GPA. So it all came together. Yeah, it all came together I was supposed to be in construction. I was supposed to be a contractor. It was JV.
Oh, and add in the business.
Yeah, it was JV Lombardi Builders and Sons, and I was supposed to be the and Sons, and there was no business to join. So I definitely just went into protecting contractors. I started off chasing trucks on the highway. They used to call me the dog because all the construction trucks are on I-95 in Connecticut, especially in Fairfield County, where there's a lot of money down there. So there's a lot of construction and roofing and masons, electricians, plumbers, etc. So I used to chase them all, give them a call. Hey, my father was JV Lombardi Builders. He fell 3 stories off a ladder, lost a $25 million construction company. Can I buy you a cup of coffee? Make sure it doesn't happen to you and your family. And that's what I did probably 8, 9 times a day, every day, was just drive on the highway. I was driving 70,000 miles a year. And I would follow people to Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts, buy them a cup of coffee and give them my pitch. And I got a lot of clients that way, got a lot of referrals, joined the HBRA, Home Building Remodeling Association, joined a BNI, YPN, just network, and really kept growing. Kept growing from, somebody with 4 clients, and now I have 1,600 clients and over $1 billion of protection and rollovers, and I'm licensed in all 50 states.
So if I can if I can distill, if we will, your whole journey so far came from wanting to protect your dad so that he wouldn't have been flat broke after his accident.
Yeah, not a lot of people get to go through the heaven or hell of being completely broke and completely rich, and then completely broke again, and making sure that you will never, ever, 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 ever be in that position again. I mean, I ate noodles and eggs and ketchup every day. I had hamburger helper without the hamburger. I was the poor fat kid in a very high-end town, Fairfield, Connecticut. It was bullied every day, made fun of every day. It was really tough. And I realized that my life didn't have to be that way if my dad just had a plan. And how many countless other people out there, one diagnosis, one car accident, 1 minute of slipping on a ladder can deter the next 30, 40 years of your life, not only physically, emotionally, and mentally, but financially. And it's so importantly to at least protect that if you have the means to do it. So at least you can deal and have the time and the energy to deal with the psychological and physical ailments and hurdles you're going to have to jump through to get back to where you were before the thing that happened.
I love that. I love how you are, in essence, trying to protect your dad with every single client that you bring on in the blue collar business, because it is an industry that you understand because it's your dad's industry, right? Like you said, you were going to become the son of J. Lombardi and Sons, so you understand everything that the blue collar worker goes through, and now you're helping protect them for generations. I'm curious about your book being your own bank. That is something that I've always, you're on TikTok, you see Flocka Flame, I think it was, talking about how he was nearly bankrupt, but then he talked with someone and now he's his own bank. I'm curious, how do you set up your own bank? Like, how do you become your own bank, if you will? Because I hear there's a whole bunch of loopholes, there's red tape and stuff like that. So how do you go about it, Joseph?
Yeah, so I was very lucky to work under one of the #1 guys in the country at a radio show when I was at IronHawk Financial Group in MetLife. And I learned a lot from the people in Manhattan. I worked in Manhattan, 7 Hanover Square, and all that's on my LinkedIn bio. And how to be your own bank is pretty easy, believe it or not. The concept's easy. How you build it, what company you go with, how you fund it. That's the hard part. The concept is just using section code, IRS code 7702. That is the code that determines whether a life insurance policy is taxable or tax-free. And what most people have trouble with this strategy is they incorporate life insurance as death insurance, which they think of group term at work, group term through AAA, or some, car insurance company. They go, oh, you want $100,000 of life insurance? It's not life, it's death insurance. There's no value unless you stop breathing. And as you continue to breathe, it's a liability, right? You're just going to keep funding this thing for 10, 20, 30 years. Law of large numbers says you're going to be alive. That's why there's an underwriting to weed out the cancer, the AIDS, the DUIs, the felonies, you go to rehab, they weed out the crazy anxieties, the crazy mental issues, depressions. And so now you're left with just a group full of healthy people. Well, the healthy people die? No, you have like a 10 times greater chance of getting disabled than dying. So it's literally free money to the life insurance companies, right? And so people misconceive life insurance and death insurance. So life insurance actually gives you benefits while you're alive. Death insurance gives you benefits when you die. So having the ability to separate those two and understand what the wealthy people do. Wealthy people do not own IRAs, 401ks, SEP, Simples, pensions. They don't have millions of dollars sitting in a checking account, earning zero interest, or in a high yield savings, earning 2 or 3 when inflation's running around at 8. That makes no sense. They're losing real purchasing power of their dollars. So what people found is they said, okay, where can I put my dollars, have it grow, have access to it, and still earn interest on money that's not even there? So can you imagine an account where, let's say you dumped in $10,000, $5,000, $500, and then you wanted to pull out $300. Well, on your $500 account, you're still earning interest on $500, even though $300 is sitting somewhere else earning you money. So they do that on a larger scale. I have clients that, let's say, sell a property, they get $1 million, they dump the million in, they need to buy a new property, they're usually downsizing, and they were to buy a $600,000 house. So they put the million in, they pull 600 out, they're getting credit on the million. So they're still earning interest on money that's sitting over there earning them interest. So it's a way for clients to earn 2 streams of revenue on $1, or probably 80% of my clients, they don't even touch it until the market crashes. Because what is economics or finance 101? Buy low, sell high. What does every American do? Dollar cost average, dollar cost. Oh, and then when the market crashes, they sell, they're scared, it's going to keep going. So what they're actually doing is they're selling low, right? And then when everyone's talking about, I'm getting 10%, I'm getting 15%, what do? They buy. They buy at the top, they sell at the bottom. And they wonder why the average American earns 2%, 3% in the stock market. Well, wealthy people earn 15%, which is what my clients have been averaging over the last 20 years, tax-free. So when you take a look at different strategies that are out there, you have to use the right section code. You have to use the right carrier. You have to use the right construct. You have to use the right product. You have to design it the right way, because you can do the be your own bank strategy and you can just get hammered and lose your money because the agent under the carrier sold you the best commissionable product for him, not you. So you need to find a master broker, what is a master broker? It is somebody who does business with more than 2 carriers, somebody that has access to hundreds of carriers and has no allegiance to a piece of paper or a corporation or a company, but has allegiance to you, the client. So I'm able to do a fact finder, figure out who you are, what's your assets, liabilities, goals, what are you trying to achieve, where are your assets now, which I would assume most people's assets are all taxable, all illiquid, and all high feed. Oh, how can I assume that? Well, you usually have a business, you usually have a home, usually have an IRA, SEP, simple 401k IRA. All those are tied to the stock market. All those are taxable. All those are illiquid. So having the ability to diversify is so vitally important that when the market crashes, the richer get richer because they have liquidity. No one's going to sell Apple if it's down 80% to buy real estate if it's down 80%, right? Mm-hmm. So having a downside protection, when the market crashes, you don't lose anything, but on the way up, you make more money, allows my clients to have a bunch of cash when people are desperate to eat. So I have clients who buy Pokemon cards or rookie sports cards or real estate or vintage vehicles, and they wait until it drops, and then they wait for the market to come back up, double their money in 24 months, sell it, wait till it does it again. And it's arbitrage, which the average American doesn't even know how to spell it, let alone what the heck it means. So it's being able to leverage different assets. Don't do what the sheep do, meaning the majority of people, because the majority of people are broke. The majority of people are in nursing homes, broke, making $60 a month on Social Security. So you need to plan to build wealth, protect the people you love. And if it's just you, hopefully you love yourself, and having the ability to have that financial foundation so you can build a successful financial life for yourself and the people you love.
I don't want to. I just want to shut up and let you talk for the whole fucking time. Joseph, so when I want to go back to the first meeting of this, the gentleman who got you into this, you're back at the bar. What was it about what he said that decided to force you from your goal of being whatever you were going down studying to deciding to go over and start helping people with building their own banks, with the financial side and the insurance and all that fun stuff? What was it that pitch? What was it about the pitch that made you decide to go? Excuse my language. Fuck that shit. I'm going to go over here.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. So what made it change is, since I was about 12 or 13, I always knew I wanted to work on Wall Street. And I didn't even know what the hell what it meant. So my dad did a job for the CEO of some major Wall Street company, but I didn't know it at the time. So it was just me and my dad in a pickup truck. I was in a front seat. Remember those little 2-door F-150 vans? So we got to a job site in Greenwich. I'm talking a mansion, like things the house now is probably worth $30 million. Back then it was probably like $8 million. You're talking in the 90s. And I'm like, what? We go down to the basement. Go play with this guy's kid. So I go downstairs while he prices out the job and the addition or whatever the hell the guy's going to burn through all the money he made. And I go down to this kid's basement. It was like Chuck E. Cheese on steroids. The dude had a basketball court in the basement, baseball pitcher's mound, video games and like Pac-Man, those arcade games. I was like, I had the time of my life. I get back in the car and I say, Dad, what does that guy do? And he goes, oh, he works on Wall Street. I said, well, that's what I want to do, because I want that type of quality of life. So I always wanted to work on Wall Street without having literally no clue what the hell it was. And when the guy approached me, he said, what are you studying? I said, oh, I'm studying finance and economics. I have a 3.66 GPA. He said, your personal skills are exceptional. You have a Class A personality. You use the best service I ever had here. And you're talking, $50 a plate in the early 2000s. It's a very high-end hibachi restaurant in Westport, Connecticut. And he's like, I love you. He's like, come to my office. I'll get you hooked up. So I go down there. He's like, oh, yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to get you licensed. So I went to get all my licenses, my 6, 63, 65, life and health, property casualty. He's like, we're going to get you all licensed. We're going to set you up. Get your target 200. You're going to call everybody. And now here I am at like 19, right? Like, not for nothing, I was smoking a lot of weed back then. like I was like, okay, so who's my friends? They're all potheads. They're all broke people. I'm like, my target 200 is like my drug dealer, a couple of friends I got, and
So well, your drug dealer may have the liquidity for this.
Well, I mean, he's selling dimes, like okay, big drug dealer, So like, I'm like, okay, I don't really have anybody. So he's like, all right, well, what market do you want to go after? I said, well, my dad ended up falling. I told the story. He goes, perfect. We're going to send you after the contracting market because you relate to it. You've been in that industry. I said, all right, cool. So I'm like, how the hell am I some 19-year-old kid? By the way, I looked like I was like 13 when I was 19. I was like 50 pounds later, and I was very young. And so he's like, yeah, you're gonna just talk to everybody. So I would just talk. Hi, I'm Joe Lombardi from Northwestern Mutual. Can I sell you a life insurance policy? So it took me a year, my first year in business, right? I got one client, and that was from a Panera board. You remember they had those cardboards, bathrooms in Panera, where they had the men's room, the women's room, and then like a little board where you could like tack your business card on. So I went to the Panera and I just started grabbing all the business cards and I would call them all. And I met this one guy, a great guy. His name was Joe as well. And he was my very, very first client. But my first client was a $2,000 a month case. So yes, I didn't make a ton of money my first year, but like making $13,000 off of one client when you're 19 years old was like me winning the lottery. I mean, that's worth $1 million to me today. When you're 19, I mean, you're scrapping up money to get gas, a burger, and a bag of weed. And you're like getting $13,000. I was like, what the? So like, yeah, I was hooked. I was like, okay, this is real. Like, but I had a fiance. She lived in 40 miles north. I worked 20 miles south. I lived in Fairfield, Connecticut. I went to school in New Haven, which is, Hamden, 20 miles north. And then I was 20 miles north of that was my girlfriend. And then 15 miles north of where I live. So I was literally like, bing, 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 bing.
You were just banging up and down.
To college, then to work, and then to see my girl, then to go back home. And yeah, I was on the highway like all the time. That's why I just got used to just calling people. I'm on the road for 40 minutes anyway. Here's ABC Electric. Give him a call. The worst thing he's going to do is tell you no. So I was playing a game I couldn't lose. Because if they told me no, what did I lose? If I didn't call, I had the same outcome. So I felt like I was playing a game I could only win. And that was fun. So I didn't
You were the casino. You were the house. You were always winning.
just calling everybody, and 1 out of 10, it's a 10-3-1, which everybody knows in sales. And it worked. And then from there, I started growing. And then they pinned me with this guy named Mike Lynch at Smart Money Radio. He was really huge guy in Connecticut. And I just learned from him. I just listened and learned. And I would refer business. I'm at a Valvoline. This is a true story. I'm at a Valvoline. And I'm like, hey, nice car. They think it was a nice car? No. But you always say, like, there's a book called Nice Bike where you always compliment people and it leads to conversation. So it was like a Chrysler Sebring. I'm at a nice car. He goes, oh, thanks. He goes, what do you do? Because I'm in a suit. Everyone asks, what do you do if you wear a suit? Either a lawyer, a doctor, or a finance guy, right? Pretty much. And so I was like, I work under this guy, Mike Lynch. He goes, Mike Lynch, Smart Money Radio? I was like, I listen to him every day. Like, really? I'm like, so I take out this little piece of paper I had with the plastic coating on it. I forgot what it's called, but it's all
a decal. Yeah, a decal.
Yeah. And so I'm like, oh, this guy? He goes, yeah. He's like, I would love to meet with him. I said, sure thing. So I set up the meeting. I go like this. The guy rolls over like $3 million, does some big beer bank life policy. I ended up making like $80,000. I was sitting there like for 3 hours. And I was like, okay. So I just started referring everybody to him, and I would shut up. I would listen. I would learn the language, how he talked, how he handled rebuttals, what he did, how his secretaries worked, and how his system worked, from a fact finder to an illustration to an application to the file, how he saved the file. Now everything's electronic, way easier. But we're talking, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And so it's like learning his whole system. And I said, So then I started doing it without him because I learned it. And I failed, I stumbled, I bumbled, but then I started getting really good at it. And then I started winning awards, and I started making a lot of money. Then I started helping a lot of people. And then I got a lot of referrals. Then I started reinvesting back in my company. And then I was like, okay, this is actually like working. I went from believe it or not, a Chrysler Sebring that was missing like a front bumper. It had, rust on both sides from hitting the banks driving into my house when there's snowstorms with the ice in the roads. And my little
funness of living in the North American car.
Oh, yeah, my little 900 square foot house in Wallingford, raising my kids in and my wife. And, it was like a freaking trailer that was a one story with a little, carport. And then I was like, oh, I got a Lincoln. Okay. And, I'm like, I feel a little bit cool. I got a net. And I'm not the one who wanted the car. My wife's car was in the shop. She had an Acadia, and she had to drive my car. And the speedometer didn't work. I swear to God, this is a true story. And so she comes back from driving my car to the grocery store and back and says that we're getting you a new car. Like there was chunks missing of this, I didn't care. Like I don't give.
As long as it gets me from point A to point B, it works.
And I speed anyway, so what do I need a speedometer? I'm speeding anyway. I don't care if it says I'm doing 90 when I'm doing 10 and doing 10 when I'm doing 90. I don't care. It totally, flip the script. And then it's, oh, we want another kid. You want another house. And it's work harder. To the point you're doing something for so long, you're just like, cool. Like, this is my life. I just help people. And the cases and the things I'm dealing with, I just got a deal, 2 days ago from a podcast. You guys, is $100,000 a year life insurance policy contribution. Those are dream cases. Those are people don't even do that in 3 years of selling that type of commission and premium. So it's like the way that my business has been exploding and expanding, and I've been hiring people, and I have other agents, and it's exciting. It's a little anxiety, because I've been a branch for a long time. I was the business, but I'm learning, not to. If something happens to me, is there a business? And as of right now, the answer is no. So I don't have a business. I am the business. So I have to transition IronHawk Financial from just me and my team. I have lawyers, accountants, CPAs, attorneys. I have a senior vice president. I have agents under me. But I got to transition that to replace me, and then I have a business. So it's just giving up that power. It's tough. And my way, doing it 20 years, and you're going to come in, been in the business for 2 years, and tell me you want to do it that way. And I'm like, well, so it's like that, it's been a little difficult, but I'm adjusting. But it's a lot of fun, especially right now being in the financial business, because we got taxes going through the roof, got the market gonna crash, we got interest rates going up, got inflation. People don't know what to do. I'm rolling over $1 million a week of IRAs and 401ks and the fixed index annuities where you can't lose. They've been averaging like 14% over the last 10 years, compounding. So and I'm going with AAA rated companies. I'm offering my clients the top companies, the best products. Because it was funny, when I was at MetLife, right, I sold MetLife Auto, MetLife Home, MetLife Annuities, MetLife Disability, MetLife Life Insurance, right? And at the end of the day, I realized they weren't the best in any of them. So I wasn't really doing the best things for my client. I was doing the best things for the sales manager that was telling me to sell those products because he made a percentage off of what I did. So I realized the financial system, if you're not working with a business owner or a sole proprietor or a broker, you're not getting the best deal, period. And that's why 30% of my business are replacements.
Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. Jesus, Joseph, I'm going to have you back on for sure, because you're a wealth of knowledge, and I love right now you're in that crux. You're going from working in your business to trying to work on the business. So I love that we're just getting you in that middle, that transition period, because I know when you start working on the business, it's probably going to 10x with how you do business, and how you just the care that you have. Just hearing your stories and talking about what you did and the level of self-sacrifice you did, because when you when you were working under the guy, you're like, I'm not going to sell, I'm going to give you it so I can learn. You sacrificed years of actually making money, because you could end up making the money like him, but you said, no, I'm going to invest in myself to learn that and learn the skills necessary to be the best. But we are coming to the end, which I hate, because I want to learn more from you. So we're going to definitely have you back on. I'm going to get in contact with your people to make sure that you come on probably next year, because I'm pretty sure in a year you're going to blow up and it's going to be completely different. But I'm going to come to the last question here. I have your 10-year-old self here, Joseph. What's the single piece of advice you want to give your 10-year-old self?
Piece of advice I'd give my 10-year-old self is to care about your future self and make sure that the partner you choose to marry for the rest of your life, you've put a lot of thought, energy, and consideration into your future self. I believe if you don't think about where you're going to be in 1, 3, 5, 10, 20 years, and you just live in today, you are going to most likely, given our debt society, our consumerism society, you're going to make a decision that is going to hurt your future self 9 out of 10 times. Whether it's eat that piece of food that's bad for you, buy that vehicle that's going to highly depreciate, buy that house that nobody cares you own, even though you think you're the man because you have 4,000 square feet. Do things for you later instead of always needing instant gratification today. I think that would be my biggest lesson from gambling, from eating, from drinking and the things that we all do here and there for fun, they have long-term consequences if you do those things too much, if you don't plan on doing it. So it's basically like having a life budget, not just a financial budget, like a life budget for yourself, and do it when you're young, where you haven't been mentally abused in a long-term marriage and a business, and you haven't been, life hasn't kicked your butt yet. Like, get all that stuff set up so the butt kicking isn't as bad.
I love it. That's some great advice, Joseph. On top of all the other advice you gave us and talked about, and I'm pretty sure, I know there's a few people listening that probably going to reach out to you to learn more about how they can create their own little bank if they want. But Joseph, I'm going to jump off. This is the time to talk to those people. Let them know where they can connect with you so that they can create their own bank, or maybe even be able to refer you some business to help other people. So the floor is yours.
Yeah, so you can reach me at www.ironhawkfinancial.com. There's a contact us page there. I want to let you guys know I've never lost a client $1 in 20 years. I've never charged a client $1 in 20 years. So all my time is absolutely free. I get paid through different carriers that I bring money to. So you can reach me at my website, ironhawkfinancial.com. I will send you guys copies of my book for free. All three of them. Be Your Own Bank, There's a Better Way Than a 401k, and Long-Term Care Without Long-Term Pain. If you just want to send me an email to Joe at IronHawk Financial, free book. If you want to meet with the free book, cool. You just want the free book. You won't be on any type of list or anything. I'm trying to get this information out there. You can also text me on my business cell, which is on my website, which is 203-815-3673. So again, website, ironhawkfinancial.com, email, joe at ironhawkfinancial.com, and my business cell, 203-815-3673. I'd love to help as many people who want to better themselves and not put all their eggs in one basket, save millions of dollars in taxes, and build a financial foundation for their family.
There you go. Perfect ending to an amazing episode, Joe. Thank you so much for coming on. I look forward to talking to you in about a year when you're working on the business and not in the business, and to see how huge IronHawk Financial is.
I appreciate this opportunity and this platform, Phil. Thank you so much.
You're very, very welcome. To my audience, as you know, down in the show notes, you'll find all the links to Joe. I'm going to be sending him a free an email to get those books, because you definitely know I want to make my own bank and have a better life and see who I can help. So again, thank you, Joe, for being on the show. Thank you very much for listening. And as always, remember to invest in.
Thanks for tuning in. Now it's time to take the next step. When you're ready to dive deeper into how to launch, grow, and monetize your podcast, Phil's got something special for you. Join him for a free webinar where he'll reveal the 3 secrets that have helped countless entrepreneurs succeed in podcasting. Click the link in the show notes to save your spot, and let's turn your podcasting dreams into reality.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.